This is me sitting in a corner, recasting abilities, and doing nothing else in a Still Path survival mission. Of course, occasionally I have to run out to pick up life support, but besides that, I just sit in this corner, cast my abilities, and everything around me dies. Yes, that's how powerful Protea is. She's easily one of the most powerful Warframes in the entire game, and the build that I'm going to show you today, much like my Thermal Thunder Gauss build, will actually be negatively affected by having a helmet. So this is a no helmet Protea build. Before we get into the build though, let's of course explain Protea's kit. Protea's passive will give her ability an extra 100% power strength on every four ability casts. This is really good, as it means she doesn't really need a mod for power strength as long as you're kind of aware of what abilities you're casting when, and make sure the ability that you want to get that extra power strength gets it, because even with no power strength mods, she will get 200 power strength on her 4th ability cast. Like, that's really good. The passive gives Protea a unique user interface just above her energy bar with 3 little, like, what's that shape? I can't remember what that shape is. It's not a rhombus, is it? Like, whatever that shape is, the angled rectangle shape, whatever that shape is. The angled rectangle shape that will fill up each time she casts an ability. Activating one ability will fill up one, a second, a third, a third. When all 3 are filled, there will be a little glowing orb in that extra area with the 100% ability strength icon. This shows you that the next ability she casts will benefit from that 100% power strength. And of course, activating your 4th ability will reset it. Protea's first ability is called Grenade Fan. Protea will jump in the air and throw out grenades in an arc. The grenades will be placed in equal distance apart from one another. Tapping the ability will have Protea throw out shrapnel vortex grenades, while holding it will have Protea throw out shield satellite grenades. The shrapnel vortex grenades will fire out 3 grenades that upon hitting the ground will expand into vortex or flying shrapnel that will hurt any enemy that walks into it, dealing slash damage. It will have a 100% chance to stagger these enemies and a 33% status chance. The shield satellite will have Protea fire out 4 grenades that, once they hit the ground, will become floating shield satellites. When an ally gets close enough to the shield satellites, they will pick it up, and the shield satellite will then begin to rotate around them. Upon picking up a shield satellite, you will be immediately given 500 shields. That will then go into overshields if it goes past your max modded shields. Then, while you have it, you will be given constant shield recharge even while taking damage, and this shield recharge will take you into overshields. If you have your shield gate activated while you have a shield satellite hovering around you, the shield satellite will be destroyed and give you an additional 2 seconds of shield gate. That means with the max shield gate, which is 2.5 seconds, you will have a 4.5 second period of invulnerability. And with the more average 1.3 second range, you'll still be getting a 3.3 second period of invulnerability. Protea's second ability is called Blaze Artillery. Protea will place up to 3 plasma torrents. They will float in the air and automatically target enemies within range. The plasma torrents will have a full 130 degree range. So anything out of the 130 degrees in front of them, they will not be able to target. So they don't have a full 360. The torrents do heat damage with a 100% status chance. In addition to this, the torrent's damage will increase by 100% each time it hits an enemy. Visually, you will see how much increased damage the torrents have, as behind the torrents will display a number giving you the increased amount of damage they have based on how many enemies they've hit. They will also show you a ring with a bar that will slowly decay through the ring, which shows you the duration of the torrents. Protea's third ability is called Dispensary. Protea will drop a cage that will drop a health orb that gives 100 health, a universal ammo pickup, and an energy orb in that order, one by one every 3 seconds. After it has gone through all three of them, it will have a 5-second cooldown period before repeating. It will then repeat over and over again until the ability runs out of duration. Each time it drops an item, it has a 25% chance to drop an additional copy of the item it's dropping, and that chance is affected by ability strength. The augment for this ability will change it so it drops a special health orb that will heal companions, as well as reduce their cooldown timer when they die. Protea's fourth will snapshot herself in time where she stands. After activating the ability, Protea will be immune to damage and status effects for 3 seconds. While active, all damage dealt by Shrapnel Vortex and her Plasma Torrents will be stored. When the ability is deactivated, either by running out of duration or by tapping the ability key, Protea will send out an explosion of all the stored damage, dealing blast damage. In addition to this, if Protea were to take lethal damage while the ability is activated, she will basically gate a health gate and prevent herself from dying. When the ability deactivates, any energy, health, shields, or ammo that was used while the ability was activated will be restored back to what they were just after casting the ability. So you won't get refunded on the actual ability cost of itself, but any ability you activate after, you will get refunded, in addition to any health you lost or any ammo you used. This ability sounds great, right? There's no downsides. Actually, there is one downside. It's a pretty big downside. It's this. When the ability deactivates, it pulls Protea back through all the moves and steps that she took, which is just annoying, honestly. But there is a solution. If you hold cast the ability while it is activated, it will completely turn off the ability. You will not get pulled. However, you also won't get refunded from any energy, ammo, health, or anything like that that you used while the ability is activated. The augment for this ability will allow both Shrapnel Vortex and Protea's Plasma Torrents to armor strip enemies while the ability is activated, which is how I am doing so much damage with my turrets. For Protea, you basically want to make sure that you're having as much duration as possible because the base duration on her second ability is truly terrible. So that's why we'll be using Narrow-Minded and Prime Continuity. Unfortunately though, Narrow-Minded will be lowering our range, and we don't need a lot of range, but we do want at least 100%. So we will be using Overextended to offset that to give us that 130% range, which unfortunately will be lowering our strength. So instead we'll be using Blind Rage as well to offset Overextended to give us 130% strength. Because thanks to Protea's passive, we don't need a lot of strength, but we do want more than at least 100% strength, just like with range. And Blind Rage will be lowering our efficiency, but that doesn't really matter, especially because we have Dispensary paired with Equilibrium. Equilibrium will give us energy on health orb pickups and health on energy orb pickups. Dispensary drops a health orb that gives us 100 health, and Equilibrium will convert 110% of a health orb pickup its energy, meaning every time we pick up that 100 health from Dispensary, we're getting 110 energy. Plus, we also have Archon Energize that will pair with the energy orb from Dispensary, which will give us even more energy. Archon Aegis does give us some additional survivability. Archon Aegis isn't really needed for this build, but it's so comfortable I figured I'd add it anyway, so why not? And of course, we also have the augment for Protea's fourth, which is very important, so we can have our second to armor strip all the enemies that we wanted to be armor stripping. And of course, we also have primed flow because we want to be getting because this is a very spammy build, so we do want our high energy capacity. If you don't have primed flow or primed continuity, simply replace them with normal flow or normal continuity and that'll be fine. If you don't have either energize or ages, then the build should still work fine without them. And if you do have energize and ages, but they're just not fully ranked up, that's also totally okay. Slap them on anyway, the build will work perfectly fine. For our companion, well, you don't really need a companion. However, I would recommend running Wyrm specifically for its negate precept because it will give you some status immunity. but the rest of the build really doesn't matter. I would just run whatever you want, as long as you're making sure you have vacuum or fetch. If you decided to run a beast companion, it doesn't necessarily matter what you're running. This build again is extremely comfortable, so the companion is ultimately very much up to you. Your 3 weapons are also completely useless and not used in this build at all. So I would recommend using a rifle. It doesn't matter what rifle you pick, just so you can put amalgam serration on it to give you some movement speed for utility. The pistol doesn't matter at all. I just recommend putting amalgam barrel diffusion for some rolling speed for some more utility, as well as the 2 auger mods, Auger Pact and Auger Seeker, for some shield to energy conversion to help with shield gating, again for some more utility. And Protea I would recommend as the melee weapon for this evolution, the sprint speed and slide increase, and this evolution which gives sparkle velocity, again solely just for utility. All these are just utility options. And then the focus skill couldn't matter less. You could use Zeneric for some more energy and some power strength. You could use Matarite for casting speed and power strength, Vazarin for some additional survivability, Yunaro for some knockback resistance, which, speaking of, now that I remember it, do put primed sure-footed in the excellent slot. I haven't, because I haven't unlocked the excellent slot for Protea yet. But do what I say, not what I do, as prime sure-footed is a massive DPS increase and survivability increase, as spending less time on your butt, as getting knocked back and spending time on your butt can get you killed, and it does cut into your DPS. So 100% use prime sure-footed. And that's basically it for the build. This build is extremely comfy. All you have to do is sit in a corner. It is a build based around camping one specific location because of the way Dispensary and Shield Shadow Lights work. And simply just cast your abilities. Start with Dispensary for the energy, and then make sure you have your 4th activated so you get your armor strip for your 2nd, and then use Shield Satellites from your 1st to get the survivability. We won't be using Grenade Fan's tap ability, the Shrapnel Vortex, so you can go into Options, invert tap hold abilities, and go down to Protea and click inverted, so you can activate Shield Satellites by tapping instead of holding, which, as you can see, is what I do, and I do recommend doing that as it will make your lives easier. But yes, that's basically it. Just cast your abilities as they deactivate and just sit in the corner and watch every enemy die. And of course, do make sure you remember to hold cast your 4th ability just before the duration runs out, so you don't get slapped with that annoying pull back animation through all your steps. As we do want the 4th ability, and we want it to be active because we only get the armor strip from our 2nd while it's active, but we don't want to have to put up with that, as it's quite frankly just annoying. So make sure you hold cast it to deactivate it and prevent that from happening right before it runs out of duration. But do let it get close to running out of duration before doing it, because again, you need it active for the armor strip. Anyway, I hope you liked this video, and more importantly, I hope you learnt something from the video that hopefully you can take into future builds, and maybe you'll try out this build on Protea for yourself. Or maybe you'll take this build as an inspiration and make your own build for Protea, which is also really cool. And if you did like this video, please leave a like and maybe even subscribe. And if you do subscribe, maybe check out some of my other videos. I have now 4 videos up, and I've been trying to improve the quality of the videos, as my first few videos didn't have the best quality. I have recently bought a new mic, and I have hopefully fixed my visual video quality issues, and I intend to be making the audio quality even better in the future. So hopefully the quality of these videos have improved greatly just from this video since the last one, and hopefully they will continue to get better. So yes, please do check out my other videos, just don't judge them too harshly if the quality is not as good. I am still new to this and I am learning as I go along. But until next time, bye bye!